This is West of Everest. I am Lee Benson. He is Grant Benson, recording one day after Oklahoma goes into Neyland Stadium and wins 33-27. It's a game that you and I were going into the game. I know you were not feeling very positive about Oklahoma. I also was I was more on the lines of like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I would probably lean towards OU not winning the game just based off of history. As the day kind of went on yesterday, and I think this is probably just the emotions of being in Knoxville around the game day atmosphere, I kind of got the feeling that maybe Oklahoma could win the game. And heck, OU does win the game, even though it seemed like, at least from the first bit, it wouldn't go Oklahoma's way. But the fact that the Sooners went into halftime with the lead after, for the most part, being outplayed in the first half was a good sign. The Sooners turned it on after halftime, played a lot better, and get out of there with a 33-27 win. Staying alive, keeping all of Oklahoma's goals ahead of them, Grant, for the rest of the season, and off to a bye week. And then a game against Alabama. Same exact scenario, man. Still playing for the playoff lives. All right, we're into November. Let's do this.
It's there, yeah. I mean, it sets you up for sure for a potentially interesting into the season. And we'll get to Alabama and everything, and that game is, if OU just went into Neyland and win that game, going into Tuscaloosa and beating Alabama, it's very doable. That's a winnable game. If what they did last night, or that game ended this morning, so it's not actually a day after, but long game. And also the Eastern time zone is just a scourge of humanity. So no offense to anybody who lives in the Eastern time zone. But yeah, just got back about a few hours ago from, I guess I flew back from Nashville. So interesting game, man. I was kind of right there with you. I know when we were at lunch yesterday in Knoxville, I was joking around with everyone that just because my lunch was so good, I was starting to get the feeling. I was like, I kind of feel pretty good about this now that we're actually here, and had a great lunch. And I was like, just the vibes, the stars are aligning. It feels like, I don't know why.
So basically, it's all about lunch for you, huh? Yeah.
I guess, yeah. But in a weird way, the first half played out on a play-by-play basis almost exactly how I envisioned it. And you could make an argument that OU kind of was dominated in the first half of the game, and yet somehow they were winning. And I told you after the game that once OU tied it, like after the R. Mason Thomas scoop and score, which was awesome, I pretty much felt like OU was going to win the game the entire time we were in the stadium until maybe, I mean, it ended up not mattering, but if they would have lost the game, absolutely the worst play of the Brent Venables era that would have been, just given the circumstances and everything. But whatever, I'm willing to forget it. Whatever. They won the game. They went into Neyland and they won. It was a cool game. It was a fun game. It's always pleasantly surprising to me that, like, I love being in the stadium. I prefer it so much more than watching it on TV. To me, it's just so much more digestible when you're actually in the stadium. And there's just, I was saying this to some of the guys we were at, but when you're in the stadium, for whatever reason, the game always feels way more winnable when you're in the stadium compared to when you're watching it on TV at times. And I don't know, I mean, and I'm sure it probably has to do with sort of like the broadcast style and the cinematic nature of the whatever. And you're looking at me weird. But
yeah. Go to the Cotton Bowl 2 out of the last 3 years and tell me how winnable the game felt.
Okay, well, I mean, that's
inside the stadium.
This is, yeah, I mean, you're talking
actually
about
3 out of the last 4 years.
I mean, I've been in the Cotton Bowl and we got dominated as well too. But your point is taken. But what a win! What a great win, and a game that I think Tennessee certainly helped Oklahoma win that game for sure. But I feel like I'm kind of back to the point of thinking, like, I think OU's got more. I think they can show us more. I thought they played really well in the second half. I thought they played pretty poorly in the first half. They did not play well in the first half, but they made plays in the first half though. There was about 3 or 4 plays that they made, and all of the other ones they kind of got smoked. But it didn't matter because Tennessee also made some mistakes that kept OU in the game, and that was sort of my vibe while we were in the stadium. I was like, yeah, especially on that scoop and score, Tennessee completely blew their chance to just run and hide. And from then it was just game on. And I figured it would be, I thought it would be a lot closer because frankly, the second half wasn't really close. OU was clearly the better team in the second half of that game. So that's fun. It's cool though. I mean, that Tennessee offense is good. That's a really good offense. Those receivers are, I think the receivers are that's maybe the best position group OU has faced this season, I think, is the Tennessee receivers. And Joey Aguilar, who I think is one of the most Jekyll and Hyde quarterbacks I've ever seen. He's either really awesome or he's dreadful. There is no in between.
He's okay. I think he's a big time product of the system. I mean, I
Oh,
think
for
he has
sure.
a particularly good arm. He's doing. I mean, look at Nico Iamaleava. I mean, he's nobody even. Aside from the Penn State game, like I mean, nobody talks about him anymore. He's at UCLA. If he was at Tennessee still, I'm sure he would be doing good things and doing a lot more. And he had some good throws last night, but also there was situations where things were schemed up. The system's really good for him. He clearly can run it. Good for him. And Josh Heupel puts him in good spots, and Oklahoma's defense from time to time also makes it easy on him as well. Same as the Ole Miss game, but also he, there's a couple balls that Oklahoma took advantage of. And let's start with the defense. I mean, we're talking about the defense and the fact that Oklahoma played so poorly in the first half, yet led at the half 16-10. Mainly thanks to Tate Sandell, but also thanks to the defense coming up with some opportune takeaways. And one of which led to, obviously, an R. Mason Thomas scoop and score off an Owen Heineke sack. The Peyton Bowen interception, nice job by Bowen playing center field and scooping in there and making that play. And then also Robert Spears-Jennings. That was – I missed that in the stadium. I tried to sneak out real quick to go to the bathroom, and I got back, and OU had the ball. And I just actually, before we started recording, had a chance to finally watch that play. I have no idea what the heck Joey Aguilar was doing on that play.
That's what I mean. That was the dreadful Joey Aguilar. It's a terrible throw, terrible decision. It's a complete, there's just no awareness of the situation in the game at all. Like RSJ picks it off, and I'm watching him return it, and I'm like, they're in field goal range. They gave him more points. There was like,
great.
When RSJ caught the ball, there was like 20 seconds to go in the half. Like a really, really terrible play out. There were moments where there were throws that Aguilar would make, and he stares everything down. I think everything is taught and scripted there. Even when he's looking guys off, I'm assuming that is full on taught within the play. Like I don't think he's actually like a 1, 2, 3, see who's open type of guy. But that was a situation where I was like, yeah, if that's going to be the Joey Aguilar the rest of the game, I think it's like, you can kind of run and hide in this game because he was there were times, especially when OU was heating him up, when OU was heating him up and was able to get home on him, you could tell he would lose his composure in the pocket very quickly. And that's kind of what everybody said about him. But that was the thing, is that he had been relatively clean the entire season coming into this game, and there was a lot of times during the game where he had a lot of time to throw back there. I thought that's probably the best offensive line OU's faced this season from a pass protection standpoint, and I'm just glad the OU defense was able to make some plays. And they also Tennessee could not run the ball at all. They had the 14 or the 15-yarder on the first drive of the game that set them up first and goal. I believe that was their longest run of the game. Other than that, it was just smack. I mean, at the line of scrimmage, pretty much the entire game. They had no chance to run it.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma continues to be excellent against the run under Brent Venables. I mean, under 2 yards per carry as a team. I mean, that's – and last year they were great stopping the run, and Tennessee was a much better running team last season. And so I guess I could bag on the big explosive pass plays and whatnot here and there, but I guess I've decided that, you know what, I guess this is what it is. And if you look at Oklahoma's schedule, Alabama's also good. They can throw the ball around, and we'll see what happens. I got to get past Alabama. But I mean, it's just the Ole Miss loss is even more disappointing because Ole Miss and Tennessee are so good offensively. That's what Oklahoma wants to be, man. They can get after the quarterback, and they can make they can create so much havoc. And it's like, you know what? I guess that's just the way it is. And as much as I would like the defensive backs to be better and take advantage of it more, they are. I mean, they did finally. I mean, we saw it, and it led to points, and that helped. I mean, maybe as the season goes on, now we're getting down to it, we've kind of been hoping and hinting like, it's the lack of takeaways has been makes you want to scratch your head. Who knows? Maybe Lady Luck is going to start evening things out at the most important time of the year for Oklahoma.
And that was a game, too, though, where if you do subscribe to the whole idea of, hey, havoc plays equal turnovers, like a certain amount, like it had been sort of a fluke that OU hadn't gotten it. You saw it in this game. Lots of tackles for loss. They had a lot of passes defended in that game as well. And what do you know? You pick off you double your actual interceptions for the year. I don't count the Taylor Wine interception. That doesn't count. But yeah, you actually get 2 consequential interceptions that lead to points and in one instance, probably take points off the board for Tennessee as well. Let's go to let's talk just maybe not briefly, but because you were there, you weren't in the bathroom for the R. Mason Thomas one, right? I can't remember if we're
No, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It was fun rewatching that from the TV broadcast angle because we were in the corner of the stadium on one of the end zones, and where that play happened, it was on the opposite end of the stadium, and so didn't have like a great angle of it, but in the stadium it was like the ball was snapped and then boom, he was hit like right away, and to me I was like, oh, that was sort of weird, and so seeing it on the TV broadcast like made it make a lot more sense. But that's one of those things. It's like it's so weird that OU had so many sacks this year, so many blindside sacks this year, and so many tackles for loss with shockingly few fumbles, like strip sacks. So it was nice to finally see that. And even more, like a little bit more luck, it just bounced right into R. Mason Thomas's breadbasket, like while he was striding towards the end zone as well. And then I think it was Kitzelman, the tight end, who was trying to tackle him or rip the ball out. And then RMT with just like the classic, get off me. He drug him for 25 yards.
Oh my God. It was incredible. It was awesome. I mean, and that probably that effort, that strain, probably led to him getting hurt. I mean, that's all this like, because I mean, it was ridiculous that he was able to run and shrug that dude off of him after that long. And thankfully, Oklahoma had that convoy of defensive players to create that dome around him so he could kind of coast for the last 25 yards.
Yeah, where was the rest of Tennessee? Where were their skill position players? Were they not like, I've watched that play a bunch of times, like none of them could catch up like after. It's not like they got super far down the field. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but that's an awesome play. It was a really cool play. And let me tell you, being in the stadium, the air went out of that stadium really quick. It was pretty sweet. That place was, and I'll went and got the dub. Neyland ain't nothing. It's nothing. No big deal at all. But I'm sort of kidding. It's loud in there. It's loud in there. But also
it's not unlike any other big SEC play. I mean, I've never been to South Carolina. I haven't been to that. I haven't been to Georgia. I've been to Alabama. It was for an 11 a.m. game. But I've been to LSU. I've been to A&M, man. Those are big. It's all the same.
If you've been in the Cotton Bowl during a super high leverage possession, it's about that loud in there. That's what it feels like in there. And so, which means
Cotton Bowl's louder.
Which means it's really loud. But it was it's a cool place to see a game for sure. Man,
very well done.
The logistics inside the stadium are just big oof. Concourses are small, impossible to go to the bathroom except while the game is going on.
Once the game started, it was fine. It was easy because people were in their seats and stuff. But to get to the seats and everything, I mean, we don't have to talk too much about this, but the more I go to these stadiums and see these atmospheres around, I got to tell everyone, I mean, Norman, Owen Field, pretty nice. Oklahoma does it really well, man. It really helps you appreciate the facilities, the game day atmosphere. I got to give a lot of credit to Oklahoma and their stadium and their operations and the presentation of everything and how to get around. It's really good. And I mean, for LSU, for Tennessee, that was. I mean, it's a big game. It was packed. I mean, they put 100,000 people in there. I mean, that's probably part of it. But man, it was hard to get to our seats. It was. I mean, that was. Thankfully, we got in there like an hour early. Because if not, anyways, that's and not to.
Yeah, I was gonna say as an
anyways,
aside, we'll get to that stuff at the end. Let's go back.
Okay.
I just have but yeah, I for whatever. I mean, I love going to new stadiums, and I have a lot of opinions on that stuff. So we'll get to that at the end. But so the R. Mason Thomas strip and score was an awesome play. It was a great play. It completely changed the vibe of the game, especially for me, because Tennessee, you get the weird sort of like aborted throw on the very first play of the game from Aguilar, putting them way behind the chains. And then the 3rd and 15, they called PI on Guillory, and I've heard some people kind of say, and I saw it on social media. I mean, some of the guys we were with last night were sort of saying it too. It's just like that wasn't PI, and sure, if you want to get super technical about it, it wasn't PI, but it was also one of the most blatant defensive holdings that has ever occurred in the history of football, organized football. So it is what it is.
It's a hold. It should have been a hold. There's too many times where officials will call PI when it should just be a hold. Like Cortland grabbed him and held him. And it doesn't matter if the ball was thrown 10, 15 yards the other way. It doesn't matter. I mean, there's a hold. So it's a penalty. Like that's
Tennessee
and that's
drives,
unfortunate because they
would have been the perfect way to start the game. Perfect way to start the game. Get them 3 and out. Not only do you force a 3 and out, but they go backwards. They have negative yardage on the first. And OU would have been in good field position. Alas, Tennessee drives the ball down the field and did it in a way that they moved the ball pretty much the entire game, throwing the ball over the middle of the field, which kind of and like you had just said, this is who OU's defense is. If the defensive line is getting home and the pressure is getting home, then it's no problem. It's okay. But I think that's sort of the bargain that OU's defensive staff has just accepted, that this is what we are. We're going to be really good against the run. In fact, not only are we going to be good against the run, but we're going to push them backwards a lot of the time when they try to run the ball. We're going to put them in 2nd and 3rd and long situations, and we're going to force them to protect against our NFL pass rushers. And if they do, tip of the cap, I guess. I wish they would be a little bit more creative and play better coverage over the middle of the field. But we're 9 games into the season now. And you know what? Let's just roll with it. I guess. That's fine with me. And so, you saw, I think you saw the coin flip nature of it in this game. There were a lot of times when Aguilar had a lot of time to throw and he was picking them apart. And there were other times where they were getting into his kitchen really quickly. And then, he peed and pooped all over himself when that happened. That was always fun to watch. So, where else are we going to go with this? Okay, I'm trying to think. So they tied the game at 7. Tennessee went and drove it right back down, right? And then OU held them to a field goal. That's what happened, right?
Yep. And it was it was 10-7. But meanwhile, the offense didn't do anything in the first half.
And Tennessee moved it like between the 20s pretty much at will in the first half. They were getting kind of whatever they wanted over the middle of the field. Except other than it was essentially just those 3 plays, the 3 takeaways that OU had. I thought that was was almost the difference in the game. It set the tone. So let's kind of move over to the the offense was really, really bad in the first half. John Mateer was not good in the first half. I didn't think Ben Arbuckle was good in the first half. And then they finally started to find something in the second half. It's when they started to lean on the run game more. Their offensive line sort of got into the rhythm of the game. But we've gone way too long in this podcast without talking about who is the player of the game. And Tate Sandell is objectively the player of the game for Oklahoma. He's gonna I didn't hear this until this morning when I was listening to some of the other post-game podcasts. He's made 18 straight field goals.
His first attempt of the year, right? And now he's 18 of 19.
Against Michigan. So I'm not a I'm not a huge superstition guy anymore. I don't believe voodoo and magic doesn't exist. It's whatever. Tate Sandell's a really confident guy. He's a good kicker. He's, as of right now, he has got to be the favorite to win the Groza. He's got to be.
I mean, we're watching him, and after last night, how do you not think that? But I gotta say, the Hawaii kicker is perfect on the year. He hadn't missed a kick all season, and he's really good. I think he's like I remember like the first whatever week, zero, whatever.
Week 0, he hit the game winner.
Like he taught himself how to like he's from Japan or something, and he taught himself how to kick like on YouTube or whatever. That dude's 21 to 21. Now I don't know what he is from 50 plus. I don't know that, but yeah, I mean.
But yeah, it's like Sandell's like 6 for 6 from 50 plus, and he just made three in one game on the road.
And that's like the easy like. I mean, yeah, I mean 3 50 plus yard, 50 yard, 3 50 plus yards, 2 of which from 55 on the road at night in hostile territory. So I mean, after last night's game, I don't know how you'd want any other kicker out there, which is a really cool feeling to be in. Like, what a weapon! Now. I really don't want them. I mean, they relied on him last night, and he won Oklahoma the game. I wouldn't want to tempt fate with that, to be honest with you, just based off of just being alive for as long as I have. It's just, but I mean, if he's going to be this good, he's going to be this good. That's a heck of a weapon.
It's like, yeah, I mean, anyone who's listened to this show for the last 8 years knows that I'm team just don't kick. I hate kickers. I was telling people around us that I don't care how good you are. I always assume that college kickers are going to miss. But maybe there's a chance that Tate Sandell is just good. Maybe he's just an NFL guy and he's really good at kicking. And so in that case, like, I mean, let's just throw him out there. I suppose him and his really short shorts, which is. I guess that was a big social media thing. I didn't even notice in the stadium that he had really short pants. It didn't even. I
mean, we were really high up. We couldn't tell.
They were pretty far away. But
they put all the OU the visitor sections pretty far up there. It's similar to our time whenever we went to A&M for the first time when we were at OU. The visitor section was way the heck up at the top of Kyle Field. Yeah, Tate Sandell was terrific. I mean, that's.
There's really nothing else you can say about it.
It's awesome.
You have the confidence to go out there, and I'm just thinking, I'm picturing myself just getting it from the other end. If a team that OU was playing, a guy hit 3 50-yard field goal, like 50, I would be beside myself. I would be so just like, this is garbage. Yeah, this is one of the flukiest pieces of what ever. But when it happens when it happens for us, that's all great, baby. It's all skill.
It's kind of, I mean, that's what it's like for all those years watching Texas kickers in the Cotton Bowl just make every single kick, no matter how deep it was, from what angle, every single kick. The 2009 game where the Texas kicker just made like 5 or 6 field goals, whatever that was.
It's gonna be pretty sweet to watch Sandell silence 100,000 people in Tuscaloosa with a walk-off game winner in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was awesome
to beat overrated Alabama. Anyway, let's see here. I'm trying to remember the offense in the second half, because was there no? They went 3 and out very first possession, didn't they?
I think they got a first down, but
they did get that first
down.
And then I think Mateer got sacked. And then their second drive was the one where they drove it into the red zone, and then X fumbled. And then how about the defense after that though? Not even, I mean, only allowing 6 yards after that and forcing. Was that the one where that was their first punt of the game? That was Tennessee's first punt of the game, right?
I'm looking at it. It was their touchdown fumble. Yeah, it was. It was the first punt of the game.
And then that's when OU just kind of picked up right where they left off in the last drive. They drive it right down and they score. I believe that was also the drive where wait, no, this is all wrong. This is all wrong. Because Tennessee scored. Tennessee scored in here. It was 17-16 at one point in time. See, this is crazy. When you're in the stadium, it all runs together.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was the second half did not start well. I mean, because Oklahoma got a first down, but then they ended up punting. They couldn't take advantage of getting the ball coming out of the locker room. and then they gave up a touchdown on the next drive, and that was I believe that was the touchdown where it was the 3rd and 8 out route, and Cortland Guillory didn't wrap up, and catch and run, boom, Braylon Staley for a touchdown. I mean that, and it was like, oh, here we go again. And then after that, it was the nice drive by the offense. They kind of got something going, and then Xavier Robinson fumbled. But it was that point where Oklahoma's awesome elite defense, granted they had already forced 3 takeaways in the first half, so they had already done their part for the most part. But at that point, after the turnover, 3 and out, then Oklahoma's offense went down there and scored a touchdown. So great job by the offense by picking it up, going down there and scoring. That's whenever Xavier Robinson scored. And I believe, was that I can't remember if that was what was the drive where Mateer converted the 3rd and 16? I can't remember when that was. That was a huge play in the game.
That was a... Oh, gosh. I'm forgetting because they
Oh,
that was to make it.
That was on the drive where Xavier Robinson fumbled. They didn't even score on that series.
Oh, yeah. There you go. All right. Because I'm still thinking about
at least flipped the field. So I mean, at least they were moving the ball.
No, because I was still trying to think of my take about when Tennessee went up 17-16. Because we were talking about it here before we started to record. That was a play that really bugged me, just because we had our angle of the game from that far up is essentially the all 22 angle that you see. It's like it's kind of from an angle and everything, and so we can see everything really clear. You can see how wide the splits are and everything. And before they snapped it, I was talking to you. I was pointing down. It's like 15 yards of cushion right there in the slot. They're going to that guy. They're doing it. And Aguilar, in typical Joey Aguilar fashion, he just stares him down. Braylon Staley the entire time. Stare down. He was never going to anyone else the entire time. And got to wrap up. You got to make that tackle, because who'd they play? Tennessee? Until Tennessee scored their grab-ass touchdown after the Mateer interception with 4 minutes to go. That was Tennessee's only play, really, in the second half. From then on, I thought OU's defense was executing sort of like the umbrella defense perfectly, as you're not going to run the ball on us and you're not going to hit us deep, so we're going to challenge you to just kind of check down. And I thought they executed that nearly perfectly in the second half, which was nice to see. Hey, even after they went down 17-16, I was still I was disappointed. I was like, man, that sucked. I mean, that's just, you can't allow such an obvious conversion like that to happen. But even then, in the stadium, I was like, I think they're okay. I think they're going to be fine. And it was that next drive where they did finally start to find the rhythm until X fumbled. But then you get him out, 3 and out. PJ Adebawore made a really nice play on 3rd and 2 there. And also, a hat tip to Josh Heupel. A dreadful play call on 3rd and 2.
Horrible.
And anytime that Tennessee did not just drop back and throw in that game, they were doing OU just a massive favor. And so I'm a huge, if the other team stops your run game, and your entire offense anyway is predicated on throwing the ball downfield, and they've already proven that you can stop just tip your cap and just start throwing it. Especially with all the chunk yards that OU has given up at times. But tip of the cap to Josh Heupel. I appreciate you. Maybe he's still working for his alma mater in mysterious ways. So Adebawore makes the really nice play. They punt. OU gets really good field position. And I believe that's the drive where Mateer had his really nice throw to Satane, right? On the sideline, the out or the wheel route, kind of the wheel-ish route, kind of switch route. Which, did you go back and did you watch that on the TV broadcast? See how nice of a throw that was?
It's a nice throw. My only problem was that he stared it down the entire time, and I don't love that, because if there was a safety over the top that was reading his eyes, he'd just kind of lollied on over and picked it off. So aside from that, it was a really nice throw.
Yeah, no, but also I think we've already established, and I think the first half of the game established, I say that Joey Aguilar is not like a 1, 2, 3 who's ever open gets it guy. Neither is John Mateer. He's not. He's still not seeing it well. And I thought one of the nice things that Arbuckle did in the second half is that he did simplify it for him. It was all just kind of like, yeah, here it's like one, maybe two reads on the play. And also he kind of cut the field in half a lot of the time too, which again, like I don't love it. I would much prefer like the best offenses ever. You're going to be able to attack every part of the field. That's not what OU's offense is right now. It just isn't. And I think you just kind of have to.
Mm-hmm. So good play callers, they know the limitations of their quarterback, and Ben Arbuckle should know everything about John Mateer at this point. So they got to adjust. They're still in it. They're 7-2, and Mateer, that was definitely the best game he's played in a long time, in many weeks. And maybe it's not a coincidence that, he only threw for 159 yards, but there was some really important conversions on third down, and Mateer and him running, that was the best he's looked running the ball. He actually got out into space and had some room to run for the first time in weeks since before he got hurt. So I don't think there's a coincidence that mix with him playing one of his best games since Auburn, since he got hurt.
They finally started to find success again with like that little counter, like guard tackle pull play they've run a lot this year, which I kind of in the first handful of SEC games, that thing was going nowhere. But last night, and we had a good viewpoint. Some of those holes were quite large, and so I think they were kind of blowing holes wide open there, which was nice to see. But it wasn't just Mateer, that was a big deal too. And I think if you take away sack yardage, Mateer is up there near 100 yards rushing, along with X as well, because he ended up with 80, and I think Mateer was sacked 3 times. I think I'm not necessarily sure how many yards he lost on all of those, but in terms like the design runs with Mateer, I thought were really, really effective, and I'm sure they're on there, but I don't really remember a whole lot of designed Mateer runs that went for negative yardage. They were always kind of moving forward, which is a big deal. And so, and you bring up that he only threw for 155 yards, but he threw for like 130 in the second half, which that ain't bad. So we'll take that.
Yeah, he was under 100 yards of offense in the first half. So they halftime adjustments were made, and Mateer he had 96 rushing. He lost 16, guessing on sacks or just scrambles. So he was close to 100, and Xavier Robinson was terrific again, and it was I'm sure our good friend Brady Trantham was happy to see that there was no confusion on who was going to be the starting back. I know Brady was concerned that Xavier Robinson would not play a lot. I kind of figured out no, you can't mess around anymore. He had played a lot the last couple of games, and sure enough, Torrey Blaylock had 1 carry. So it's the Xavier Robinson show, and he's starting to feel it, and you get into a groove, and he's a good player. And again, I think it's a mixture of, you go back and you look. Yeah, Oklahoma struggled to run the ball early in the year, even against bad teams. It's the backs, man. It's mostly the backs. They can run it. Their offensive line's not that bad. They can figure it out. And also, these defenses that they've played the last 2 weeks are not great, but they're definitely better than generic Big 12 defense or generic ACC defense, you would imagine. So now Xavier Robinson's kind of getting on a feel. Torrey Blaylock kind of got in a groove here and there. South Carolina, he ran the ball really well. How about that? So you give the ball to running backs that are actually good, you can get yards. You can get yards with this offensive line in this scheme, man.
I think, that's obviously part of it, and it's nice to see that we're seeing the Xavier Robinson that we saw sort of at the end of last season. And who knows how hurt he was up to this point, but hopefully he's healthy moving forward. But it's I don't think it's just X. There was the starting offensive line combination today was a totally new combo. They hadn't that starting 5 had not played together yet. And I know they played it was Pierre Louis started.
It was
left
Pierre
guard.
Louis. That was,
and I know they played a large portion of the Ole Miss game together. But I thought it was kind of interesting that they were just like, we're just going to roll with Pierre Louis. And
I like
for the
what
most
I saw.
part,
Against Ole Miss in his time, he kind of like a road grader, and the offensive line seemed like they played pretty well.
I thought I did think they played well, and I thought, in typical John Mateer fashion, I'm pretty sure all of the sacks were just squarely on him. They're all on him, as pretty much all of them are. Like they've still, even against Texas, the offensive line with throwing Luke Baklenko out there, I thought they were for the most part pretty good in pass protection. And so it's very nice to see that last season in the pass protection department was actually just a total fluke and probably had a lot to do with them playing, 50% Jake Sexton and playing Spencer Brown a lot and et cetera, and Josh Bates getting way too many snaps. And so it's nice to see that they've sort of figured it out in that regard, because I don't remember a whole lot of instances where Mateer was like under pressure right away. All of the pressure is pretty much with very clean pockets that he just needs to step up into. But man, he drifts so hard, and he drifts into sacks all the time to his right. It happens to like all the time, and I don't know, like that's one of those things where he watches film. I know he does. Like, how does he not know that he does that? It's obviously all like muscle memory and everything, and that's probably not something you can correct like right now. But man, it's just a little frustrating. So, offensive line played well. I thought one of the biggest deals of the second half or the first half rather, was just how many plays Tennessee ran compared to Oklahoma. I mean, it was so lopsided. Time of possession. OU's defense was on the field a ton. And then in the second half, the script was totally flipped completely. OU completely controlled the pace of the game. And that's what happens when you get 4 or 5 yards on the ground on first down, like every single time you snap. Stay ahead of the chains. It means you can kind of run your little short passing offense too. And it's that's the worst defense that they're going to face the rest of the season in SEC play, and so maybe that played a really large part in part of it. But still, it's nice to see them find their groove in the second half and be able to get stuff that was there a lot of the time. And man, I'm really surprised that I'm just pleasantly surprised that they won that game.
Yeah, and I'm happy that we didn't have a podcast after the game last night. I'm glad I got a chance to sleep on it and think more about it. Because it's just actually go back and watch it and see it, and it just looks differently. A couple other notes I wanted to bring up, and I'm kind of going through the play-by-play to try to check my my work here. And I know when I was watching back, Deion Burks had a kind of a quiet game just in the box score, but he had at least 2 third down conversions, like catches that move the chains. So that's something. Satania had one as well on 3rd and 5.
He had a pretty bad drop. I think it was like on 2nd and 20 or 1st or 2nd and 20, but it was on the same sequence that Mateer scrambled for the first down on 3rd and 16.
Was it Satania or Burks?
It was
dropped it.
I'm fairly certain it was Burks.
It was on the. Let me see.
It was right. It was either the play after or 2 plays after the holding call backed him up to 1st and 20.
Okay, yeah, it was Burks. Yeah, that was not a good drop. But at
least
he
hit him in the worst possible spot, his hands.
Yeah. Xavier Robinson. Kind of hitting on offensive stuff and the grab bag, but look really good. Nice touchdown run, strong. What do you average yards per carry? It was really good.
Like 16 for 115, right?
Yeah, man, he 16 for 115. So that's,
of course,
that's
like
7.2 yards per carry.
That 40-yarder though at the end made it all look a lot better. But even then, he was still good. Like I thought he was moving the pile. He was getting. So yeah, he didn't have as explosive of a day as his final line indicates. But that's one of those where it's just like he earned that. He earned that long run, like those yards there at the end of the game. So, Jermichael Carter played a lot. His biggest catch that he had in the game, you were in the bathroom, so you didn't see that. You didn't see that part. But it's nice little
highlights though.
Yeah, nice little catch and run by him. One thing
that started the drive where they took the lead 23-17. Yep. So that was a good drive starter.
And so I'm trying to think of other stuff. There was going back and watching Tennessee's game against Kentucky, and this is kind of this was also what I haven't watched a ton of Tennessee. Like I watched that entire Georgia game where Georgia was going up and down the field on them, but I had read a lot of other stuff saying that it's like, their defensive backs have been so injured and they're pretty young there, and they've like really struggled to tackle. They miss a lot of tackles. And when I went back and watched their game against Kentucky last week, Kentucky was getting the ball outside the numbers, kind of at the line of scrimmage to their receivers a lot, and just forcing Tennessee to tackle. And they couldn't. They couldn't tackle Kentucky's receivers. And so in my head, I was like, wow, I really hope that there's just a whole lot of Jaren Kanak bubble screen action in this game. And they didn't throw a single bubble screen to Jaren Kanak, but they did finally throw in a Jermichael Carter. And so that was one thing I was really disappointed. They did not stress test Tennessee and say, hey, let's see if you fix this in 6 days. You got to do that. That's one thing about the Arbuckle offense this season that I haven't liked at all. I really like outside the number bubble screens. Like I really like them, and they don't run any of that stuff. That's a good way to just get like an easy free 5 or 6 yards. They just kind of refuse to do it to get like Mateer in a rhythm. I do know, like, I guess last week against Ole Miss, they tried to throw it out to Sustainia, and Mateer just like dirted it, which just like looked awful. But it's John Mateer. I mean, he needs to make that throw. And so I thought a really good advantage that OU could potentially have in this game was trying to get Jaren Kanak out in space and forcing their defensive backs to tackle him. And I was a little disappointed that they didn't stress test that, but I guess no harm, no foul, I suppose. Other things. Let's see here, because it was mostly just Sustainia. Oh, okay. We're going to the defense now. There's one guy in particular on the defense that we need to. That I want to highlight. It's a guy who's been a whipping boy of this podcast all season long. But there's.
Oh yeah, it's on my notes too.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, he had one sequence that you just gotta. It's big time. It's big time. But yeah.
I can't wait till I can get my. The YouTube TV and ESPN can figure their stuff out so I can go back and actually watch it. Because, Davon Jordan, stand up and take a bow. Davon Jordan will forever be known as the Davon Jordan series. And this was the series after Oklahoma took the lead. They were up 23-17 and another 3 and out. And they put Davon in the game in that situation, and he was tested on second and third down, and he made plays, man. He made plays. I think he got a TFL, I think, on second down, came up, made a tackle. And then Heupel and Aguilar are like, hey, we're going to go after this freshman corner on third down and long. And I'd like to see the replay of it. But you and I, we were watching. It looked like Davon Jordan got up in the receiver's face and just jammed the crap out of him and just threw him out of bounds. Took him out of the play.
I know, you're not like you don't pay as much attention to like the other team's personnel as I do. But he was one-on-one outside the numbers with Chris Brazzell, who is going to be a first-round NFL draft pick in like 6 months. And he physically manhandled him out of bounds and blew up the play. Because rightly, Aguilar, Heupel, they see, oh gosh, this dude, this freshman defensive back who has been cooked all season long by the likes of Temple and South Carolina is manned up like with no safety help against a guy who leads the SEC in receiving right now. And they're like, okay, we're going to do that. And you get the snap and you see Aguilar's eyes immediately go there. That's where they're going. They're just going deep. Jordan he shoves him out of bounds. And it's done. Totally blows up the play. The play was over.
Physical. Get a jam on him, baby.
It was awesome.
You can do that. You're allowed to do that.
You're allowed to jam. And so I thought that was awesome. Like I saw that and I immediately I started getting butterflies. I was like, oh no. Does OU know that they have Davon Jordan out on Chris Brazzell right now on 3rd and 10 or whatever it was, and there's no safety help? Didn't burn him, I guess. I don't know. Gosh, that was...
What a difference a week makes, because a week before at Ole Miss, I was pointing out to Brady in the crowd, like, there's Davon Jordan one-on-one on third and long, and they're going to go after him. And they did, and they picked up 20 yards in the first down, and that was his only series of the game. A week later, he makes the series and gets Oklahoma off the field and back-to-back 3 and outs for the defense. That's awesome. He deserves all the credit in the world. And Good for
Did
that
OU
kid.
go down and score?
Was it.
Was that when Sandell made his other one to extend it to 9? Was that drive right after that?
Let me see. Let's see. Punt. Yeah. Yeah. So
Kaboom,
I mean, that was,
baby, big time. That's a big time deal. Like I haven't heard anybody else bring that, but that was just a huge sequence, a huge sequence that like Davon Jordan by himself got OU off the field there. I love that, man. That was awesome. So
yeah, I can't wait to again go back and actually rewatch that at some point. Hopefully they can figure this crap out. Awesome job. That's amazing. I love great defensive back play, and that was terrific defensive back play. And hats off to Davon Jordan. One of the best moments of the night.
I'll even come out and say it. That's the best 2-play sequence any OU defensive back has had this season, and it came at it could not have come at a better time. It was awesome. That's winning football right there. I
hope
loved
that, and I hope inside that locker room and his teammates were giving him all the credit too, because he deserves it. I hope that. Surely the coaching staff. They'll watch the tape. They know what they saw. I don't know if he played the rest of the game though. I don't know if that. I don't know if he even got out there anymore.
A lot of Jacoby J. Like after that, and like I didn't remember unless maybe because it was. I think the next time Tennessee had the ball, they were coming the other direction, and maybe if Davon was out there, he was on the other side of the field. Whereas like on that sequence we were talking about, he was as close to us as really could be possible, but. Just a great sequence. So you and I were both in the stadium. We're very fired up at that, and so, gosh, should we
other defensive positive stuff? And I got to say, Kip Lewis had 10 tackles. Like Kip Lewis has had a really quiet, great season. I would imagine. There was a play he came around and sacked Aguilar on one of those like edge rushes. I can't remember what time of the game. Actually, I think it was the. It might have been the play where PJ had the play, but no. Anyway,
no, it was in the fourth quarter.
Okay, did he get? Yeah, he did have a half sack.
It was a half because it was Halton. Halton cleaned it up.
Okay, so just looking at it, he had a good game, and Michael Boganowski came down into the hole and made a really nice open field tackle that you pointed out in the game. I thought, okay, good for him. That's what he does. That's what he does well. That's what he's supposed to do well. I kind of feel like Teddy Lehman now, just going through every single player on the roster and saying everybody played really well.
Owen Heineke was good in run fits, much less good playing zone coverage over the middle of the field. But
even Venables after the game was like, where'd he go in the second half? He had 12 tackles at halftime and he only had 1 after halftime. Clearly he had a good game. He did a nice job. Kobe McKenzie, injured, not playing. Obviously, R. Mason Thomas out the rest of the game after that touchdown he scored. And this is where the depth really helps, man. Taylor Wine's really good. PJ's been playing. Very good complementary football on the edge. Marvin Jones Jr. is just kind of there doing his thing, taking up space, making plays here and there if he needs to. Yeah, the defensive line, the edge. They're good. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do.
In the second half, though, when Tennessee was trying to come back, I do think that they felt R. Mason Thomas not being there, because you could tell just being like the D line with
Probably,
Tennessee going really fast, the D line was just cooked. Like they were so tired, just pass rushing the entire time, and so I think that definitely helped. Most teams really don't have much of an answer for R. Mason Thomas, and Tennessee is really the only team they're going to play the rest of the season that tries to just like sit back there and throw the ball really far down the field. So I think the game would have gone even better if R. Mason Thomas was able to play the entire time. But I thought everybody else did a really good job. David Stone flashed for me. I thought he looked really good. Everyone on the defensive line looked good for the most part. So I thought the front seven played a really good game, and it's one of those where it's just like I think it'd be very easy to look to poke and prod at the defense and pick up some stuff that you didn't like, and there's a lot of stuff. And this is one thing that we now know. It's 9 games of the year. This is a really good OU defense. Is it an elite OU defense? I don't think so. I don't think it's an elite defense. It's too easy to
I don't
throw
either.
on them.
I
Too
don't
easy to
either.
throw on them for it to be an elite defense. But they make plays. They make plays, and they push you backwards when you need to. So, I think the defense is good enough to give you a chance in any game that you're playing.
Oh yeah, but I do think that it's worth noting. I agree. I don't think it's an elite defense. The last two offenses they played, the best offenses they played, are also two really elite offenses in college football. And Oklahoma's defense has held both of these offenses well below their season averages, yards per play. Now, I don't know necessarily. Probably points here and there. But Tennessee was really good on third down last night. 7-13. Still couldn't get off the field on third down. In third and longs, the 3rd and 8, gave up a touchdown. And now we're doing some negative stuff.
Penalties.
Robert Spears-Jennings had the
Penalties
interception.
on third and long.
Penalties, the 3rd and long, the PI, which should have been holding on Guillory at the start of the game. RSJ's interception, great. He recovered an onside kick late in the game. Still, one of the first touchdowns Tennessee scored. Same exact thing happened last week against Ole Miss. That RSJ bit on and guy got behind him, touchdown. It's all over the tape, man. That's how Tennessee scored. Was that their first touchdown or second touchdown? I think it was their first touchdown.
It's their first. It was their first.
It's just I don't know when he's going to get better at not biting on run action. Dude, stay deep.
Especially against a team like Tennessee, where I think the game plan going in is that we got to stop the run with only 5 guys in the box. That's just how it's going to have to be. What's RSJ doing biting up like that?
It's dude, your teammates in front of you are so good at stopping the run. You're responsible. You or Peyton Bowen, whoever, nobody gets behind you. I guess whenever you put so much emphasis on stopping the run, everybody puts emphasis on stopping the run, including your secondary players. And clearly that's something that they just have decided to live with. And they won the game, so great. It just bothers me that that's such an easy touchdown to score, and that should not be so easy.
It's also frustrating to me, too, is that the Joey Aguilar's play fakes are so obviously play action. It's a totally different his body looks totally different when he's actually giving it rather than pulling it. And it's just you got to see that stuff. It's nobody ever does the deep ride if they're actually going to hand it off. That doesn't ever happen.
Also, if you would just read your guard tackle, read your tackle, they're going to tell you. I know it's an RPO thing, but the touchdown pass that Aguilar had, those linemen were pass blocking the entire time. They were not getting upfield. But anyways, when you're the safety, run is your last responsibility, man. Anyways, that's just a pick. That's negative defense. Now we got to get to the negative offense, and what the heck was going on at the end of the game? Where the offense had the game won, they pick up a first down, like a third down conversion, clock running, and then Mateer throws a pick. There's an RPO, throws a slant to Carter, to Jermichael Carter.
Yeah.
It's very well defended. It's intercepted, and Tennessee all of a sudden has life. After the game, Brent Venables talked about how he said that it's got to be a run play. It's got to be a run play. I was wondering, okay, what did Ben Arbuckle say? And I watched half of this, and then I kind of stopped and thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and just play it on the show. And so have you hear it for the first time and me hear it for the first time. Can you see this? We got it up there?
Yes.
Okay. Here's Ben Arbuckle. I believe it's Barry Trammell asking him about that. What happened on that interception towards the end of the game?
Wrong. The interception down the stretch.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like the ideal time to be trying that play or that pass. What went wrong there?
Yeah, it was a run play all the way. It was a run play, and I tagged a single receiver slant because they had 8 humans in the box and bringing 0, and it was just a tipped pass. It was not a great call by me. I didn't put us in a great situation right there, but the kids didn't let that waiver and came back and found a way to get it done.
You talk about Xavier Robinson, just his overall play.
Now, Grant, interesting answer.
Yeah, I mean, how do you chalk this up to him just being? I mean, he's quite a bit younger than you and I are, and like, is he just still learning? He's just still figuring it out. Because one, he says it's a run play all the time, like all the way, and then he tagged a slant on it. That means it's not a run play all the way. That means it's an RPO. So you called an RPO. And also, I have another question. If there's 8 guys in the box, why are you running a slant as the RPO? Because aren't there 8? Because don't you run slants into the box?
Yeah.
I've never
and John Mateer, John Mateer also significantly younger than you and I, Grant. Breaking news, but also played a lot of football relative to I guess kid, let's say a teenager or what are you doing throwing the ball? And
the game's over.
Like,
You're in field goal range, first of all, and so you got a guy who is going to make it, and you got to force Tennessee to take their timeouts there. This is, and not.
It wasn't even open. I mean, it was like a well defended RPO.
And
it'd be one thing if they had like 10 yards of cushion or something, and it was like, oh, all right, well, like, sure, let's just. But still, even then, like, just hand it off and. Yeah.
And that's not even to say, I guess, like, I'm not even 100% against throwing in any scenario there. I'm not. If you have a play that is a touchdown, run it for sure. If you got something and you know this thing is going to be wide open and all you got to do is just complete an easy pass for a touchdown, run it. Totally okay with that. You ran one of the highest risks throws you could ever run in that situation, and it was I gotta they end up losing that game. That's fireable offense on the plane, like after the
everybody,
game. Everyone, and it's you can't. That was in the moment one of the dumbest things that I have ever seen in an OU football game since I've been watching it. And even if you don't pick it off there, even though you pick it off and the ball just hits the ground, it hits the ground, it's an incomplete pass, I'd still be in the stands just losing my mind. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and that's why it's good that we slept on it and stuff, because even in a game in which Oklahoma won and went on the road and beat a good Tennessee team, and keeps their playoff hopes alive and kind of gets off the schneid. I mean, by far the best road win in Venables' tenure. I mean, not even close. And he needed it. The team needed it. And you could tell after, hearing him talk after the game, he's back to, like, that dude is desperate for wins, man. Like, that kind of makes my skin crawl a bit. But, hey, keep winning, and maybe I'll change my mind. But stuff like that, it's that reminder of, like, man, it's just, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? Like, and he gives Arbuckle, he gave Levy, he gave Seth Luttrell all this autonomy on the offensive side of the ball because he didn't care about the offense, man. He's like, and it's like, get in. I don't know. I've never been a head coach of a football team before. I don't know. But is that situation like where, let's give Brent the Venables of the doubt, the benefit of the doubt. Maybe in his mind, he's like, there's no way my offensive coordinator is dumb enough to actually call a play here where they would throw the ball, right? Like, this is a smart kid. He understands just run the ball. But then again, maybe over communication is important there and say, hey, headset, run the football, get out of here. And obviously he didn't do that. And you could tell by Brent Venables' post game whenever he said, yeah, it needs to be a run play. Needs to be a run play. And that happened, and they dodged the bullet, they got out of there without it. But of course something like that's got to happen to make you kind of just be like,
it's like, why you gotta, even in a game, even in a really good win like that, where you go in that environment and you show your team shows a lot of moxie, a lot of gumption.
Yeah.
To take it on the chin in the first half and still still come out and I think I can't remember who said, I think it may have been on the Sooner Scoop postgame podcast, but I thought it was a really good way of describing it. They really grew into the game really well, and like they met the moment and they understood, like, until that part, And because, after that happens, it's just very easy to start like sort of a spiral of thinking of just like, I mean, it's exact, like that fits right in with all of the other crap. And it's just, it's such an easy mistake not to make. And why are you making it so hard on yourself? And for a team that especially in the second half, had played situationally, just like a lot of winning football, you do something like that, which was for the situation, for how big an important win that was for the program. I mean, for Brent Venables, like a mistake in that moment was, I mean, it's forgivable now because they got out and they got the dub. But man, can you imagine if, because there's still a lot of time left, man. There's still over 4 minutes to go in the game when that happened, and we were there. Tennessee fans were leaving. They thought the game was over because it was.
Oh, yeah.
The game was over.
I mean, they had just converted, and by the way, I mean they had overcome a pre-snap penalty, a Ryan Foje false start, I believe, and it was 1st and 15, and they had fought back and converted a 3rd down to Isaiah Satania to move the chains, and I mean, Tennessee fans were leaving before that 3rd down conversion, but definitely after that 3rd down conversion, there was mass exodus, and then we saw people literally stopping in the walkways and going back to their seats after the interception happened. That's the. But hey, they won, and still same feeling as I did coming into it. It's like, you know what? I'm excited. I'm happy. We get an extra week. Don't play next week, so hey, we're going to be in the middle of November, and feeling a heck of a lot different than we felt a year ago at this time, or at what that time was, where the season was lost. Who cares? This team, even though there's so many flaws with this Oklahoma football team, so many flaws. The way the college football landscape is, man.
There's
not Oklahoma?
There are only there are only 2 teams in college football that are not flawed. Everyone else is like really flawed. So, and even to say those teams aren't flawed is probably not correct, but their flaws are quite. And the
thing with Ohio State is, because I mean Ohio State, they're defending champs, so you got to knock them off. It's just, I mean, their schedule's been pretty light. I mean, they haven't seen an offense like Oklahoma had. They haven't seen an Ole Miss or Tennessee offense yet.
And Washington is by far the best offense they've seen.
And Indiana, I mean, they saw Oregon, and they went to Eugene, and Oregon's a good team. I mean,
Indiana's a wagon. They're a wagon.
They are just beating the crap out of people, man.
Yeah, and that's the best part about SIG too, is that like I like because there's something to be said about, hey, let's like go on the road. Let's come out. Let's just play a good, clean, solid game. Let's get out of there with the dub. Maybe my favorite thing about SIG is he's here. He's just like, no, I'm coming here to steal your soul. Like he understands what college football is about. It's not about just winning. College football is about dominating your opponent. That's what you're supposed to do. It's about winning by as many points as humanly possible.
Yeah,
that guy's awesome.
It's insane, man. They're just just going to Maryland, and I remember like I thought that number was a little too high. It was like 21.5.
Just can't remember
55-10.
Can't remember what podcast I was listening to. I was when I was traveling on Thursday to Tennessee, but it may have been Cover 3 or so. But they were just like, I think one of them said, it was like, yeah, I've been making a ton of money this year on just betting the Indiana team over. It's like it's the easiest bet ever. All they do is and against Maryland, it was just 34.5. I was like, that is free money. You're telling me Indiana
first half.
Oh, they were going to be fine. They're going to be fine. They scored 20 points in the first half. What is like?
It was only 7-3 after the first quarter, man.
Yeah, they just score points. That's so. I kind of want to get to other just kind of thoughts about Knoxville, and not Johnny Knoxville, who was there. Oddly, Johnny Knoxville was there. Also, did you notice that all he said was, "Hey, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and this is Rocky Top," and then walked off? Did he go to Tennessee, or did he go to Tennessee, or is it more of just like I share a last name with the town's name? I have no idea, but that was interesting. Okay,
he's from Knoxville.
He is. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Maybe that's like not his real last name. Maybe that's like his stage
not.
name.
That's a stage name. Okay. Well, this is all according to Wikipedia.
I know ball.
All right, makes a lot more sense now.
So one thing I do want to say before I want to get the good out of the way. So number one, I think Knoxville is a really cool college town. It's very unique. It has a kind of when you drive into Knoxville, it has like a sign that says "Welcome to Knoxville," like founded in 1791, and it feels like a super old town, but like not in a gross way, like in a very charming sort of like colonial way. And it's a very, very hilly city, and so you're constantly going uphill, downhill, and a lot of the buildings are really old, and it's a charming city, and I really like that aspect of it. Another good thing, and this is more about like the game and everything. The whole like, and I've seen, Twitter and social media and everything was like going crazy. Just the intro with the tea and everyone streaming out and with like with all the lights off and everything. Can't say there in person, it was really cool. It looked real cool, and there was a part of it that was just like, okay, this is like this is really cool atmosphere. There's just visually, I thought it was like scrumptious. It was just there was so much going on. The lighting was awesome, and it was just Rocky Top is a banger. It's a great fight song. I like every time I started singing Rocky Top, I was just humming along the entire time. It obviously would have been way worse if OU was like just getting destroyed, but luckily that was not the case. So I thought all that was cool. The atmosphere was good, but like you said, I started to come around to what you said of just like noise is noise, and after a while it just kind of bleeds into each other, and it is what it is. So and there was never any time when I was there I was just like, yeah, this is untenable. There's no way that like they wouldn't be able to hear out there, like type deal. So I don't know. But that it seems like a lot of people who are there though saying that's like the best atmosphere they've ever seen. Come on, guys. You've been to like a top 5 OU Texas matchup in the Cotton Bowl. It's not close. It's not close.
No, it's not. And that's people like to live in the moment so much. It's I expect that from college kids, but like I don't expect that from adults that have been to a lot of stuff and seen a lot of stuff. It's like, come on, like use your deduction skills. I mean, it was cool. It was a good experience.
It's
great.
Cool.
It's Knoxville, Tennessee. I mean, it's got its own traditions. That's what college football is known for. But as far as I mean, like atmosphere and like put it up there with all the rest of them.
It's good.
I mean, is it bigger and better than going to App State or something? Probably. I mean, never been like, but that, I mean, all the rest of the SEC, they're like these traditional powers. Yeah, I mean, that's what they all do. They all do a nice job. And that's the good side. The bad side.
let me get my first bad in there too, because I know you're gonna have a big. This is one thing that I feel like really strongly about. Tailgating and stuff there is not good. And I was quite disappointed by it. And I do think that's one of those things that's just like the town is so old and it's so tightly condensed. I just don't think there's a lot of good spaces for it. The biggest like tailgating lot or area that is just a giant ugly parking ramp that's just right outside of Neyland. And
see, that's what we saw. We didn't get a chance to go to the other side of the stadium, so it's
fair.
It's possible that the other side of the stadium has a bunch of cool stuff. But yeah, the stuff that we saw that we made it to was different. I mean, we were walking on a railroad track. We were tailgating on a railroad track, and it was very tight quarters. And then when the parking ramp, it was just different. It was very unique, but. And then also, it makes me really appreciate the way Oklahoma's got everything set up. Honestly,
yeah, and very, very difficult to get around in the stadium when you were in there. It was, and like we were at the top level, and we didn't know how to get up there. It wasn't very obvious, and it's like it wasn't one of those things where you could just be like, oh, let's just kind of like walk around and just like figure it out, because it was so tightly packed that if you went in the wrong direction anywhere else, you were going to pay for it type deal. So you had to be very careful with your steps, and so that was annoying. And the people that we would ask, like they kind of looked at us like we were aliens when we were asking very obvious questions, which was disappointing. And that's not to say anything about that. I thought the Tennessee fans were lovely. I mean, I thought we didn't run into any knuckleheads or anything. So which to me is always nice. Like I can't stand crap like that. So but yeah, that's basically like it was a really good experience. But there was you'll get into it, but there's some in-game stuff, and Lee's going to do a much better job of describing it. There's some in-game stuff that just I think uniquely just tickled you and I, just like a peculiarity that you and I have that just Mickey Mouse stuff. Go for it.
No, it's the in-game presentation during the game was awful. It's the worst I've ever seen in my entire life. We'll start with the small stuff. Big video board. There's not like a set just board of stats where you can see like, oh, like here's the game stats, like total yards for each team, like first down conversions, like didn't exist. Had no idea. Every once in a while they'd pop up like a random player and show, oh look, this guy has 3 carries for 7 yards. Who cares?
The entire first half, they just kept showing the same guy, like a random like third string defensive tackle. Like he had 1 tackle, and he just kept
like,
popping up there.
What is the point of this?
Yeah, it was like a glitch, like in college football 26. That's kind of what it was like.
Yeah. So just as far as like knowing, like just that stuff, like if you like want to know, like get a really good feel of like, you know, obviously we know that Oklahoma had fewer than 100 yards of total offense in the first half, and Tennessee felt like they were dominating. You had to go on and find it. Granted, I will jump in right now. The best part, and they get high marks for this, Wi-Fi at the stadium was available, and it was great. It was best Wi-Fi in stadium experience I've ever experienced. I mean, I connected to the Wi-Fi. I was like, you know what? Because every time I go to these stadiums, I just check, like, hey, maybe there's Wi-Fi. Went on, it was like Rocky Top, Wi-Fi, whatever. Went on, boom. Didn't even have to like put my email in or anything, just connected. Awesome. Like I could get on Twitter. So I used that. I could look on my phone and actually look at the stats. So that I got to give Neyland Stadium, incredible in-stadium Wi-Fi was awesome. Back to the bad though. The in-game presentation, again, worst I've ever seen. And it really reared its ugly head. Was it the R. Mason Thomas fumble 6, I believe? Yes, it was. So R. Mason Thomas, that play happens. You look up, like, oh, cool. Like, because you mentioned earlier in the show that from where we were, the ball snapped, and all of a sudden the ball was on the ground, and he was running. We were like, what happened? Like, it didn't really make sense. Like, oh, can't wait to see what this looks like on the replay. Yeah, the replay never came. Didn't get to see what happened. If it was a negative Tennessee play, no replay. Wouldn't show a replay. The only time there was a negative Tennessee play that was shown was the missed field goal. That was it. And it was it. And then on top of it, on the R. Mason Thomas one, this really got you going. They did show a replay because it was under review of him maybe stepping out of bounds. And the angle they chose to show was an angle that made it look like, oh, maybe he did step out of bounds. So everyone in the crowd is kind of like, oh, and of course they didn't stop it. They just went on, because when I went back and watched the replay, like, and saw, like, yeah, he didn't step out of bounds, but the angle they chose to show in the stadium was the one was like, maybe he stepped out. It's like, get the F out of here with this crap. Like, you're not even going to show the play. You're not going to show the cool play. It's just, hey, we all like football here. You go to an OU game. Oh, there was a lot of Ole Miss highlights that I saw replayed on the scoreboard last week, 2 weeks ago. A lot of them. And OU's in-house, Sooner, I can't remember, whatever, in-house production, they were showing them all.
Sooner Vision.
And they're terrific. Sorry, thank you. And they're great. Sooner gave me a lot more appreciation for Sooner Vision, because, and really that should just be basic. And so that, whoever's in charge of that crap, their in-house production of not, if it comes from the top of the school or it's whoever's in charge of that, like, we're not going to show that. Get out of here. That is garbage. That is
so it's like
absolute garbage.
And so he's not over exaggerating. If there is if something positive happens for Oklahoma, something negative happens for Tennessee, 0 replays. It's almost like, yeah, so what? Tennessee fans don't like football? They don't want to know what the play that went wrong looked like or anything like that? And then the bit, so what happened, the thing that was really stupid about the R. Mason Thomas one is that it happened while OU was like setting up to kick the extra point and everything. And they do this thing and they show a very, very like highly deceptive angle of it. And it's like all pixelated. You can barely see it. And they just freeze framed it and put it on there. And so everyone in the stadium it's like maybe the loudest it got in the entire game. People just like booing and whatever.
And Josh Heupel's like pointing up at the scoreboard, like, "Hey, look! Why aren't you guys stopping it?"
And there's some Tennessee fans around us and everything like that, and they were getting all upset to it, and that's when I kind of lost it. I was just like I'm like, you guys are morons. You don't know anything. It is just like because I mean anyone with half a brain knows that the SEC has an officiating crew in Atlanta with 4K cameras seeing every single angle, and you're telling me that if he stepped out of bounds, they wouldn't have stopped it? Really? You telling me that? You telling me that that's what happened? And so it was deliberate. It was deliberate hackery is what it was. And like it's whatever. You want to get everybody all riled up, that's fine. But you are taking advantage of people being morons. I don't appreciate that. It's just like and that's the one thing. It's like I cannot stand stupid football fans, especially in stadium. Use your head.
And I can't stand Homer in-game production crap. It's like we all like football. That's just standard. And so when that happened, they weren't showing R. Mason Thomas's return touchdown. I was like, I hope OU puts 50 on him, and we don't see a replay all night, and it's just no replays because all we see is Oklahoma just pummeling Tennessee. Because I was so mad about that. It's like,
but you've been at Alabama. Does Alabama show replays?
To go to this game? Sorry, what's that?
You've been to Alabama. Do they show replays when something bad happens to Alabama? They do. Okay. Because in my head, I was like, is this the SEC being soft thing? Is that what it is?
Granted, I went to one half of the Alabama-Wisconsin game, and not a lot of good things happened for Wisconsin. So
fair.
I may not have been the best, but Sooner fans, you guys could report back. Guys or fans that go to the Alabama game, maybe if Alabama doesn't show any positive or negative Alabama plays, then maybe it's an SEC thing. But I don't remember ever having this thought when I was covering A&M. I don't remember ever thinking this at A&M. I don't remember ever having this thought when I went and covered an A&M LSU game in Death Valley. So I've never seen that before in my entire life. That just nothing. It's like,
and when they did show
replays,
their camera angles are dreadful. They were awful. They were really bad.
All right, yeah. But hey, the Wi-Fi was great, though. Give them credit for that.
Wi-Fi was great. People were nice. The final score was great. Enjoyed that.
Whoever's in charge of in-game presentation on the boards, that person should be... I'm not going to call for his job. That's pretty weak. But that person should really rethink the way they do things. Put it that way. Really rethink, because that's... You're really limiting the experience for not just opposing fans, but everybody. Just do your job. Be better. All right, Grant, OU 7-2, 3-2 in the SEC with a much-needed off week coming up. All right. I guess we got to figure out what our plans are. Maybe no show this week. I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, we're going to take a break this week. It's a busy week.
Although we do have the playoff rankings coming out, though, on Tuesday. Are those worth talking about?
No. It's like I think it's silly. OU wins out. They're in. They're hosting a playoff game. That's it. They lose a game, they're not going to be in the playoff. Period. Yeah, all the people saying 9-3 gets you in the playoff, no, it won't. And it wouldn't have even at the beginning of the season either. Too many teams. There's too many teams. It's still just going to be, still got to be 10-2. That's like the baseline. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, went out, host a playoff game, but beat Alabama first.
All right, great win. Good win. Happy about it. Happy Oklahoma can still make the playoff. That's what everyone's playing for. And, well, what was I going to say? Who knows?
Were you going to say
too long?
Were you going to say no? Never mind.
Boom her? No, wasn't going to say that. All right, guys, we'll be back at some point to talk about whatever else happens in OU football. Stay tuned to the West of Everest Facebook page for updates and Twitter at Lee Benson, tweets at Grant Benson 25. Until next time, for Grant, I am Lee. This is West of Everest. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the show. And if you want to help us spread the word, please leave us a 5-star review. And also, tell all of your friends who are OU fans about West of Everest. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud.